Good morning, and thank you for joining me for today's midweek reflection. This coming weekend sees the beginning of the season of Advent. Advent marks the start of the new church year, and it is, of course, the time when we await Christ's coming into this world. And it's full of the imagery of Christ, the light of the world, and of light shining in the darkness. One of the ways I think we quite nicely embody this at Holy Saviour Church is in our hosting every year of the Hitchin Christmas Tree Festival, this year from the 8th to the 10th of December. If you've never been, do come along and experience it. It's a lovely moment. Lots of brightly decorated and creatively colourful trees and a whole range of very varied, lovely live music. And of course, most importantly of all, a great throng of buzzing people anticipating the hope and the joy and the excitement of Christmas. And it's that theme of light, that theme of light shining in the darkness, that I just want to chew over with you for a moment or two today. St. Paul in the New Testament says to us, he talks about how the night is almost over and how it will soon be daylight. And he goes on to urge us to turn away from the darkness and to live in light. One of the voices we hear a very great deal throughout the season of Advent is the prophet Isaiah. And Isaiah says to us very powerfully that we should walk in the light of the Lord. Walk in the light of the Lord. That sounds like something really remarkable, really amazing. But what on earth does it mean? Well, I'd like to share with you a little story that I've borrowed from our brothers and sisters in the Jewish faith that illustrates, I think, rather nicely what it means to walk in the light of the Lord. And the story goes like this. There's a wise and a learned rabbi, and the rabbi turns to his pupils and he asks them this question. He says to them, How can you tell when the night is past and the day is on its way back again? And his pupils give various answers. One of them says, well, it's when you can see an animal in the distance and you can tell whether the animal is a sheep or a goat. And then another one says, well, it's when you can see a tree in the distance and you can make out whether the tree is a fig tree or a peach tree. And then yet a third person says, well, it's when you can see a person in the distance, but you can tell whether that person is one of your friends or one of your enemies. And then others gave a whole range of other different answers as well. But the rabbi, he was unimpressed with all of this. And so eventually his pupils, they pleaded with him and they said, well, Rabbi, tell us what your answer is. And he replied as follows. He said, it is when you can look at the face of any human being and see there the face of a brother or sister. Because if you cannot do this, then no matter what time it is, for you, it is still the night. Advent is this wonderful, lovely reminder that we are people on whom the light of Christ has shone and is still shining. That means, therefore, we should strive to walk in the light of truth and life, the light of holiness and grace, the light of justice, the light of love, most importantly, in view of things that are going on in the wider world, the light of peace. Nevertheless, we also need to face up to acknowledge to the truth that darkness still does have some power over us. And darkness can take many, many forms. Any kind of hatred or enmity or lack of forgiveness, lack of reconciliation, any injustice which is done to others around us. And the first thing that we have to do is to recognise that there is darkness, some darkness in our lives. And that takes a bit of courage, but it takes even more courage to take responsibility for that darkness and to decide we are going to do something about it. There is no joy in living in darkness, quite the opposite. But with the grace of Jesus Christ, we can free ourselves from that darkness. We can walk in the light. And to walk in the light means to walk in joy, to walk in freedom. Isaiah says to us, "Come, let us walk in the light of the Lord." Advent is a marvellous opportunity to respond to these thrilling words. Wouldn't it be wonderful? Wouldn't it be excellent if at the end of this Advent we could truthfully say that with God's help we'd left some form of darkness behind us, that we'd allowed the light to shine into some area of our lives where hitherto darkness has reigned. Then we would be more ready to meet the Lord of light, the Lord in whose presence no form of darkness can exist. Our hymn for today, Hark, a thrilling voice is sounding. And may you have a very blessed Advent.